sailboat in the moonlight and June. Wouldn't that be heaven? Oh, heaven just for two. A soft breeze on a June night and June. What a perfect setting for letting dreams come true.
Well, it's one of those beautiful spring-like days, but it's still in the middle of the winter, and we're getting a few jobs done through the week and trying to put some content together for this channel. Today I want to talk about ways to save money when you're working on your boat. So many of us just go to the channelry and open up our wallets and we call boat bucks like every $1,000 increment, and we always tend to spend a few boat bucks every year on our boat. I want to show you how you can save some money. As you know, Debbie and I are frugal, I guess is the nice way to say it, but we like to save money as best we can. Today we're going to give you a few tips on how you can save money while refitting your sailboat. Tip number one, buy old stuff. Most things on a sailboat are built in a very robust fashion, and they are intended to be durable. So if they get a little sun faded or a little bit worn, you can usually bring them back, and that's evidenced by the furler that we did this year, stanchions and stanchion bases. These things are durable goods and need not be thrown away, especially in this day and age when we're trying to do things a little more green. That's certainly the greenest way you could possibly do it. Doing a bit of scrounging today at an old boat building shop. This fella used to build Murray boats, or steel boats, you can look them up. Anyway, in the back of his yard, he's got this old mast laying here, right here. And it just so happens that on that mast are a bunch of stainless steel mast steps, and I've got to take them off myself, but he sold them all to me for $50, so that's a real good savings. I mean, these mast steps are a lot more money than that normally. But here she is. So I just got to drill out these little aluminum rivets, and we'll put those on our boat, and I think they're going to serve us very well if I've got enough of them. So pretty cool, eh? Tip number two, things that say marine on them are usually 2 or 3 or 4 times the price of things that don't say marine on them. And there are a lot of applications in the construction world that transfer right over to the marine world. You want to be careful that you don't cheap out too much, because some things just don't perform as well as the marine example. But in others, like, and I'll use this as an example, marine sealant. When I'm sealing stuff on deck, quite often I'll use 3M 4200 for that. Now that's in Canada is about $20–25 a tube for that, and it's kind of messy sometimes. You can buy butyl tape in any window store and hardware stores, and butyl tape works wonderfully on deck fittings. Try to find that product that has the residential application and use it on your boat. We've been working, as you know, all year on our boat, and one of the things that I've been trying to get repaired is the boom. Now, the boom on our boat was built custom for the furling main that used to be on there. There used to be a furler on the outside of the mast, on the aft side of the mast, that used to furl the sail up, and the boom was designed to assist in furling that. In order to do that, they flipped the boom over and built all the fittings onto it with the boom upside down, and they put their own track on the top. And we've been making do with that now, but I'd really like to get one with the track on the top so I can put my backpack on, and the track will hold the backpack there. So years ago, we gave a boat to a friend of ours who owns Nye Boat Works in Foxborough, and Nathan has kindly saved that boom all these years, and he's offered it back to me. So anyway, I've got a new boom coming, but it's an old one, and I'm going to refurbish it for the boat this winter. And this brings us to scrounging tip number 3. Be patient. During any refit, there's bound to be mistakes you make along the way. A good way to minimize those mistakes is to think about things a bit more and to take your time. The solution might be simpler than you think. Tip number 4, stay organized. I can't tell you how many projects I've seen go off the rails because there was no organization. Windover came with 4 drawers full of parts. By organizing them, I minimize the risk of buying something that I've already got. You see, we got this great pile of debris here on the table. What Debbie and I have done is we've gone through all the lockers on the boat where the spares were located, and we brought it all home, and we're going to sort it out. This is something I don't think we've ever really done as efficiently as we're going to do this, simply because, I mean, there's so much of it here. Normally we could just sort of trip over it indefinitely on the boat, but in this case there's just a huge pile of it, and I mean many pounds of stainless and what have you. So.
And taking up valuable space.
That's right. So there are drawers on board I've been using as spare drawers, but yeah, when you got 4 drawers used up just for this debris, which at the end of the year, really, how much of it do we use? So some of these things do have a home, and they should be put in their proper category. So what I've done is I've created some boxes, and each one of the areas on the table here have a certain purpose. Okay, so the very first box is stuff that we're going to store at home. So these are items we want to keep, but we may not use them. The second box are items that we're going to install this season, and we want to have them go back to the boat again so that the parts are there. The third box are spares that we keep on board, things like filters and impellers and certain types of hardware. We're going to want to have extras on board in case we break one, and that's what will go in that box. The big box over here is garbage, and I expect the lion's share of what we organized today is going to be garbage. This far end of the table here, I'm going to get all of this electrical stuff sorted out. I've got way too much of certain items and not enough of others again, and there's a lot of garbage in there. So the electrical is going to be completely sorted, and I'm going to try to get a new box for the electrical so that it's a little bit handier. And the same thing goes with plumbing. I'll put all the plumbing items down here, and all of the fasteners are going to go in these boxes here. And again, I'm going to try and get a box, a sort of uniform packaging where I've got a plumbing box, a fastener box, an electrical box, instead of the multiple boxes that I've got right now. So let's get started. We're going to dig in. It'll probably take a couple hours to get through all this, but by the time I'm finished, this table should be clean as a whistle. Well, we got a little ways through it. I've got things all sorted here, and lots of garbage, spares, this season's projects, stuff we're going to store in the basement here. I got to go through the electrical, but I want to get another box, and I've got some hardware that's sort of larger hardware. I want all of that in one box, and then I've got finer screws and stuff like that, which I'll sort out. So I want to end up with about half as many boxes and everything nicely organized. But this is all sorted. Pile of stuff to give away, and I think I'd be surprised if I've got a third of the materials here. So anyway, stay tuned. Well folks, it's 2 days later, and I've been working away at these bits and bobs that we brought back from the boat, and I'm left with 3 piles. I've got, first of all, this pile, which is the lovely organized pile of containers that are going to go back on the boat, and they will be nicely labeled as well, and so there'll be no mixing up as to what's in them, and we'll no longer be using drawers that could be used for clothing and other things. In these boxes I've got garbage. I've got a little box of projects that I'm going to be doing for this season. I've got stuff that'll be stored in our basement, and finally, there's always a sailor out there who's in need of some goodies, so this one's going to be given away. So that's where we're at, and so glad to have lightened the boat. I'll probably go a knot or two faster next year. Tip number 3. No. Tip number 2. Let me just think about that for a second.
Pausing the video. Tell me when you're ready to go.
Talk to me.